Now we're going to SD 47.10, Satipatthana Bahiya Sutta. The Bahiya discourse on Satipatthana, focus of mindfulness, as 47.15. Now this monk's name is sometimes called Bahika, okay, or simply the Bahika Suttas, Bahika Sutta, Bahika discourse. The theme is effective meditation and Bahiya's arhathood. Now this sutta S47.15, S47.15 is a short one. The name Bahiya is familiar. However, we must remember names can be quite common. In fact, there are three Bahiyas. If you look at the next page, Bahiya number 1 is the Bahiya that we know very well, the one who met the Buddha and then he becomes an arahat even while he was still a layman, and then he becomes an arahat, he passes away. Okay, that's the first Bahiya number 1 mentioned in Udana 1.10. Okay, so this sutta does not refer to him, because here we're talking about arhathood also, right? So that the Bahiya attained arhathood in a very dramatic way. We have already done that sutta in SD 33.7. Then there is a Bahiya number 3, okay, Anatta Bahiya Sutta. Okay, this is in S35.89. It is Bahiya number 2 that we're talking about here, and that is he's also called Bahika. Okay, so just remember, sometimes one name there can be many people. So we have 3 Bahiyas here. So this is Bahiya number 2. Satipatthana Bahiya Sutta, the Bahiya discourse on Satipatthana, S47.15, originating in Savatthi. Then the Venerable Bahiya or Bahika approached the Blessed One, saluted him and sat down at one side. Sitting thus at one side, the Venerable Bahiya said this to the Blessed One: "It would be good, Bhante, if the Blessed One were to teach the Dhamma in brief. Having heard the Dhamma from the Blessed One, I would dwell alone, aloof or secluded, diligent, exertive and resolute." Notice this whole passage is what is called a stock passage. This is called the taking leave passage. This person is going to go into solitary retreat, and usually after this he will become an arahat. And that is why he only asks for teaching in brief, Dhamma in brief. In other words, he's going to use that teaching for his practice. And he already has some meditation training. So this is the Buddha's last teaching to this person before his awakening. So the Buddha says, section 4, in that case, notice here the phrase is in that case. So here the Buddha is giving the teaching. In that case, Bahiya, purify the very beginning of wholesome states. It's just a short little mantra, if you like. Purify the very beginning of wholesome states. Make pure the starting point of what is good. And what is the very beginning in wholesome states? It is moral virtue that is well purified, and view that is straight. Okay, there are 2 things here. Moral virtue deals with your body and speech. Well purified means we let go of the world. The mind is able to see right through what's going on in the world, in other words. And then a view that is straight, right? So the mind goes straight to the object, right? So you can say this is the first 2 trainings, if you like, right? Moral virtue refers to moral training, first training of the Eightfold Path. And then the view aspect refers to the training of the mind. So the mind is able to see directly into true reality. So this is the meaning of the very beginning of wholesome states. The starting point of what is good, attaining the path, the starting to train yourself, really training yourself on the path. You can even say on a deeper level, this very first starting point is the attaining of stream winning. Once you attain stream winning, then you are sure to proceed safely on the path. Section 6. Then, Bahiya, when your moral virtue is well purified and your view is straight, depending on that moral virtue, establish in that moral virtue, cultivate the 4 focuses of mindfulness, or the 4 satipatthana. Okay, so this is a summary of the teaching. Notice here, first Buddha says, you make sure you know what the Vinaya is, what are the rules. In the case of layman, of course, the 5 precepts, and make sure your 5 precepts are kept strongly, you understand what they are. And when you have kept the 5 precepts, understand what the 5 precepts are, then you practice meditation, then your meditation will work. So here's a very powerful hint. For people whose meditation do not work, they have to examine their daily life. What kind of life are they leading in terms of the precepts? For example, if we habitually kill, we enjoy killing, that's going to be a great hindrance to meditation. If you are a robber, if you steal, that will be a hindrance. If you have sexual misconduct, that will be another hindrance. If there is lying, drinking, also hindrance, in other words. So here, what we're talking about is, where are the distractions? Again, psychologically, the distractions arise at the 5 sense doors: the eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body. And that's what the precepts are about, to guard the sense doors. So this is what is meant by moral virtue. On even a simpler level, moral virtue means calm in body, calm in speech. Restraint in body, restraint in speech. That's another way of putting it. Then you are ready to go into your meditation, which is the 4 focuses of mindfulness. Now here we're talking about getting ready for meditation. Again, do not misinterpret that the Buddha is saying, oh, the world is bad and so on. It's not like that. He's just saying that's the way the world is. The world always wants your attention. It's always taking away your energy. So this is where you have to learn to just let it go, and that's when you can focus better on your mind. In this case, the 4 focuses of mindfulness. And what are the 4 focuses of mindfulness? Okay, so this covers the rest of the sutta. Section 7. And what are the 4? Number 1 is contemplation of body. Here, Bahiya, dwell exertive, clearly aware, mindful, contemplating or watching the body in the body, removing covetousness and displeasure in the world. Okay? Now, make sure you understand this first passage, number 1. You can see there are 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure you clearly understand this one first before you go on to the rest. Contemplation on the body, kaya nupassana. Okay. Notice the Buddha says dwell, that means practice, exertive, go on doing it, clearly aware, you know what you're doing, and you understand what's going on. Contemplating or watching the body in the body. Body here refers to your actions, right? And you know, in the Satipatthana Sutta it's given in detail. For example, the way we walk, the way we stand, and postures, and then the nature of the body itself, stages of decay even, right? So there's a wide range of body-based meditations. So here it refers to body-based meditation. Now what's interesting is the finest aspect or finest level of body-based meditation is actually the breath. Because when you look at the body and you slowly let go of the action, you're sitting very still, what is left of the body? The breath, right? The physical breath. So you go on watching this breath as breath. The breath in the breath, if you like. The body in the body. Okay? Opposite is watching the breath in something else, or watching in the breath something else. So you can see it's distraction. There's distraction there. So watching the body in the body means you see the breath as the breath. What is the breath as the breath? We take in air. We cannot hold it too long. We let it go again. We take it in, we let it go. And this breath is our life. And yet we cannot hold on to it. We cannot like take in and then just hold it like that. You can't. You have to give it back. You take it in, you give it back. There is rising, there is falling, impermanence. So even in a simple act of watching the breath, you see this universal truth of impermanence. Nothing in this world belongs to us. You see non-self, right? And if you hold your breath, it's not comfortable. You don't breathe, it is uncomfortable. There is suffering. So, anicca, dukkha, anatta, impermanent, suffering, non-self, all there in the breath. If you watch it very carefully, so you watch it by, in a simple way for the beginner, you can see by feeling the breath. You feel the breath coming in, and you feel the breath going out. Feeling here means totally aware of what's going on. Nothing else intrudes. When you do that, what happens? Your body and mind begin to settle, you become peaceful. Then when you're at peace, you are joyful. And when you're joyful, you are able to concentrate even deeper still. That's when the body, the breath which is body, the breath which is physical, switches to something mental. So this is the amazing thing about the breath. It is not always body. It is body when you are not focused. But as you become focused, the breath becomes gentler, more peaceful. It becomes very bright. It brightens up. The mind by nature is bright. Okay, so then you attain a higher level, you go into jhana, in other words. If not, you go on to the next level, number 2. Contemplation of feelings, Vedana Anupassana. Okay? Here, Bahiya, dwell exertive, clearly aware, mindful, contemplating feelings in the feelings, removing covetousness and displeasure in the world. Alright, so notice it's a template. Almost all the words are the same except line 2, contemplating feelings and feelings. So when you watch this breath coming in, going out, the next thing is you watch feelings, Vedana. Pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, neutral feeling. Okay. You may begin to feel, oh, I like this, I don't like this. But you just watch the feeling as they are. You do not evaluate them, you do not hold on to them, whether you like them or you do not like them. That's the meaning of the third line. Removing covetousness and displeasure in the world. Covetousness is wanting it for yourself. This is good, I want it. That's covetousness. Displeasure is, I don't like this, so you push it away. You don't deal with it in this dichotomous, double-dealing way, so to speak. You see the breath as it is. Whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, you just watch it as it is. You accept it as it is. So there is metta here also, kind of loving kindness. You accept things as they are. Right? So you notice how all the teachings fall in here into this simple practice of the breath. So in that way you remove liking and disliking. That's another way of translating the third line in a simple way. Removing liking and disliking in the world. World here is not the physical world that you see, although you can indirectly apply. The world here refers to your senses, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. But that's the world we have created for ourselves. You neither like nor dislike. You just take it as it is. That's the meaning. Okay? This is standard Satipatthana. Number 3, contemplating the mind, Chittanupassana. Okay? Here, Bahiya, dwell exertive, clearly aware, mindful, contemplating the mind in the mind. Removing covetousness and displeasure in the world. Okay? So here, alright, we started with the body, we watched the body, that's the breath, and then the breath becomes very subtle and gentle. You feel it, pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, and so on. Then there is the thought behind the feeling, right? With all kinds of ideas. That's the mind. Okay? So you deal with that now. Whatever thoughts arise, let them come, let them go. Even thoughts arise, pass away. Arise, pass away. Right now, you're not thinking certain thoughts. Right? Later on, some thoughts may come to you, right? So we just let them come, we let them go. You notice sometimes you want to do something, you feel, wow, this is so important, I want to do this, And then when the time actually comes, you feel, oh, it's not so important after all, I don't really need to do this, right? So it's just a thought, especially in meditation, okay? So here, you are neither attracted to the thought nor you dislike it. Just take it as it is. Observing, that's the meaning. And finally, the last one, contemplating dharmas. Okay, so now this is quite tricky, dharma. Although dharma has many meanings, some people translate this as the teaching. That's too broad. Okay? Here, dharma means your mental states, the whatever occurs in your mind, the mental contents, even if you like. So as you meditate now, the mind is very focused, very subtle. You may experience impermanence, suffering, non-self. You may notice the hindrances. You may notice the four truths and so on. So you observe all this. Okay, the reality as they arise. Reality as it arises. So this is the fourth one. You observe it as it is. You do not rationalize, you do not evaluate, you just observe. So this is when the wisdom is arising, if you like, when the reality of things are arising in your mind. Just watch it like that. Of course, this sounds so neat, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? But in real practice, you find you kind of move around sometimes, depending what you need, you work on it. Okay? But this is the basic theory. All right. Section 8. Now you come to the benefits of the practice. Section 8. But here, when depending on that moral virtue, based on that moral virtue, you cultivate these 4 focuses of mindfulness, or Satipatthana, then the night or day will come when you can be certain of growth in the wholesome states, not decline. Notice here the Buddha mentioned you need moral virtue, right? So practice of meditation alone is not enough. You need to make sure body and speech also synchronize with it, right? So this is where you cannot commercialize meditation, in other words. Yeah. So the Buddha says, if you go on like this, there surely will come a time when you will change, you evolve, you become a better person. Your mind becomes clearer and more at peace. Section 9. Then the Venerable Bahiya, being satisfied, rejoiced in the Blessed One's word, rose from his seat, and having paid homage to the Blessed One, keeping him on his right, departed. Right? So this is the teaching given. See, this monk already knew a lot of teachings, but this is one special teaching the Buddha gave to Bahiya for his last meditation as a worldly person, if you like, someone who's not enlightened. So then he bows to the Buddha and he keeps the Buddha to the right, and then he goes away. Right? Now you come to the conclusion. Section 10. This is called the full arhathood pericope. Okay, this is the passage. You look at it, you know he has become an arahat. Then the Venerable Bahiya, dwelling alone, aloof, diligent, exertive, and resolute, in no long time at all, right here and now, having realized it for himself through direct knowledge, attain and dwell in the supreme goal of the holy life, for the sake of which sons of family rightly go forth from the household life into homelessness. He directly knew birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, done what is to be done. There is no more of this state of being, right? No more rebirth, no more suffering. And the Venerable Bahiya became one of the arhats, right? So there you are. It's so easy to get awakened in the Buddha's time by listening to the Buddha, by practicing. But it is the middle part, the instructions that we today need to reflect on at our own level, in other words. So as lay people, for example, you can use the breath by watching the breath as it is, and then you see impermanence in it. And then you notice your feelings arising, liking, you again take it as it is. And then the thoughts behind all this, let them come, let them go. And then finally you notice there are certain truths that arise in your mind. Oh, now I realize it's all impermanent. You get glimpses of the non-self. You begin to see the four truths and so on. So just be aware of it. Keep it that way. And that is your path to, or rather your movement nearer to the path of awakening. Just keep it going that way. That's the meaning here. So this is the Satipatthana Bahiya Sutta. Okay. So with that, any questions? Where is it? Number, section number?
Well, maybe it's at 39, where we have Sukha Baya, and you have translated as river dolphins.
Oh, you're talking about earlier. Yeah, yes. What about it?
Instead of river dolphins, I was thinking of mermaids.
Well, I suppose in fairy tales, yeah. But here, river dolphins actually exist in the Ganges. Yeah. So the Buddha is referring to actual things which the people know about. Even today, you can see river dolphins. Yeah. Of course, now the river is becoming a bit more polluted, so you see less of them, fortunately. But dolphins are very beautiful mammals. Yeah. I don't think we can translate as mermaid because there's no such concept in the suttas. Okay. Yeah, but the idea is there. In Western stories, you have the sirens, for example, Greek mythology. They live in the sea, and this Odysseus has to, the soldiers, the sailors hear the singing of the sirens, they just go crazy. They want to be with them. So Odysseus got himself tied up to the main mast, so he could hear it, and he was going crazy. But the other sailors all waxed their ears; they didn't hear anything. All right.
Funny thing, I was thinking of the same thing because I was thinking what have dolphins got to do with sexual women and all that. And mermaid is closer analogy.
The Buddha is simply using something which the people fear as well as awe. This idea of like admire also from the distance. Because you see these dolphins jumping over the water. It's a very beautiful sight. See? So this is what the Buddha is trying to get the attention of the listeners first. All right. So you can't always like get exact kind of equality there. See? Yeah, but Well, there are no mermaids there, unfortunately, so you could.
Maybe Buddha's time they had not heard of mermaids. But now on the internet,
Yeah.
there are so many videos of mermaids.
Is it?
I mean, fake or real, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
There are so many videos of mermaids caught
Yes.
swimming or
Okay.
dead. And some of them are very ugly, some of them are quite good.
Yeah, well, of course, you can use it as examples, but we must not use it as the main subject. Yeah, you can, of course, comparison. Yeah.
Thinking about one of the desires of most people is money. But money is not mentioned. I don't know whether it's covered in the world. Maybe covered in the world.
I think you have to know the timing of the sutta also. This probably came at a time quite early. You see, we have 45 years of the Buddha's teaching, you know. I use the concept of the two periods. So you have the first half, second half. Roughly, first period will be, say, year 1 to 25. Second period will be year 20 to 45. They're kind of overlapping, you know. Then you have the middle period also, about roughly 20 years. This sutta probably came from the maybe middle period at the latest, or maybe the late first period, maybe the second decade, you know, when the monasteries were still forest monasteries. They are not much about money, but you do have special suttas, especially about money. And those will be later when the monasteries are more settled, they're very big. Then the Buddha talk about money, which is very true, yes. So it depends on the period that the sutta is taught. So as the problem arises, the Buddha will talk. For example, the Buddha says, monks, you should have nothing to do with gold and silver, with money. Because once you start using gold and silver, then there is no more stopping you from doing anything else. Because, you know, money is what money buys, is it? So what the Buddha is providing here is an alternative to the moneyed society, right? So it's not just a cashless society, you know, it's a money-free society, right? Which the Buddha is giving that alternative. So if you say, oh, it's okay for monks to use money, then there is no more alternative, you know. You cannot get out of this world which is so mired in money, you see? So it's something we have to think about carefully, right? Some people think, oh, we are living in the modern times, we need money, you know. Then it defeats the whole idea of what the Buddha started teaching about. Any other discussions?
Yeah, page 103, Bahiya's arhathood. Give us the pericope. I noticed you guys pericope.
Pericope, yeah.
I have been pronouncing it as pericope all this while.
It's Greek. It's Greek.
It's Greek, so
Yes.
I pronounce the P-E.
Yeah, copy, I think means to cut, I think. Yeah, pericope. You cut around, okay? So it's a passage, an ancient passage which is very popular, which is repeated quite often. Yeah. You got apocope. Apocope is where the last part of the word is silence. For example, in modern Hindi, you know, Rupa become Roop, okay? Amitabha become Amitabh, you know. So they drop off the last vowel. That's called apocope also. Cut off. The last vowel is cut off. Yeah. So pericope, cut around. You have this passage, cut around. It's all by itself. Yeah. Or simple English is stock passage, or stock, just S-T-O-C-K. Anything else? Okay, so we end here. Right, once again, let us reflect this moment of peace that we are able to come together, something we don't always get the opportunity to do, and to have this have this rare opportunity to look through the window into the Buddha's teaching, so that our lives will be enriched in terms of practice, and of course coming closer to the Eightfold Path, which we can do as lay people also, reflecting in this truth, in the true teaching. May we in this life itself find the wisdom and courage to at least aspire to stream winning. And also by this same truth, may our families and loved ones be well and happy. May those who are practicing the Dhamma to attain their fruition in this life itself. May those who are lost in teaching the wrong things, may they to see the true teaching and come to the true path in this life itself. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.